Hello all PU2 students, a very good day to all of you. Hope your preparations are going well. We meet after a very long time. This is DMG and I'll be taking another wonderful session. This time we'll be discussing the model question paper. Okay, as you all know, every year the PU board releases two sets of model question papers, and the blueprint of the model question paper is more or less the same as the final board exam paper. So you will also have access to the model question paper in the WhatsApp group. So you can join using the link and feel free to access the model question paper. Today we'll be discussing the first set. Okay, we'll be discussing the pattern and the answers to the questions as well. So we'll move on. So stay underway. Okay, starting with the first part. Okay, so part A, as we've discussed earlier, we have 10 1-mark MCQ questions from the literature part, and 10 marks will be from the grammar part. So in total, part A will be for 20 marks. Okay, so we'll discuss the answers. The first question: Juliet does not describe the night as. First question: Juliet does not describe the night as. They're not asking what he describes the night as. The question is, Juliet does not describe the night as. The answer is garish. Yeah, garish is the answer. Because Juliet describes night as gentle, loving and black-browed. Okay, so garish is the word which she does not use to describe night. Question 2: in 2 Dear, dash was the initial punishment given to the criminal. So in the lesson 2 Dear, which was the first punishment, which was the punishment that was initially handed down to the criminal? It was death sentence, right? It is from there that the lesson unfolds. So the first punishment that was given to the criminal was death sentence. Third question: according to the speaker of On Children, life does not tarry with. It's a line taken as it is from the poem. So life does not tarry with. Option C, yesterday. Question 4: Donna Laura enters the park accompanied by dash in the play A Sunny Morning. So Donna Laura, okay, Donna Laura enters the park accompanied by Petra. And whom does Don Gonzalo accompany with in the park? Don Gonzalo accompanies with Juanito. Okay, Donna Laura comes with Petra. Don Gonzalo is accompanied by Juanito. Fifth question: in the Gardener, the rivalry between Tamanna and Basavaya started moving from visible to abstract domain when Tamanna thought of composing his experiences as ballads and singing them. So you can mark the answers if you have the question paper with you. Okay, moving on. Sixth question: Borges believes that poetic act happens when. So the poet writes it, the reader reads it. So both 1 and 2 are correct. So Borges believes that poetic act happens when the poet writes it as well as when the reader reads it. Okay, so both 1 and 2 are correct. 7. Complete the analogy with reference to Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye. Driver, hunter, pedestrian, prey is correct. So this is the analogy. Driver, hunter, pedestrian, prey. Option B. 8th question: in the water, Roof was a very popular man in his village because. Option C is correct. He never abandoned his village to seek work in towns. So the best of the 4 options, option C. 9th question: according to Sainath, more than economic aspect dash that the cycling brings is vital for rural women of Pudukkottai. Option A is self-respect. Many of you will think it's option B, mobility. No. Okay, apart from the economic aspect, the most important thing that cycling provided for the women of Pudukkottai was self-respect. So option A is correct. 10th, which is the odd pair among the following? Jesus and the Samaria woman. Yeah, both are associated in the same story. Panchamas and Untouchables, again both associated with the same story. Village and the Vada, again associated with the same story. Swartham and Bisleri are not together. Okay, both are in 2 different stories, mentioned in the 2 different stories. 10th question, option D is correct. Moving on to the grammar part of part A. Yeah, fill in the blanks with the passive form of the verb given in the brackets. So now most of you make mistakes when writing the passive form of the verb. Okay, it's a sure short question. We discuss this in the pattern as well. How do we write the answer? Okay, the passive form of the verb that they are basically asking is simple. This is the passive form that you should write. Whenever a verb is given, keep in mind that the passive form should be written so this is how the passive form of the verb will be written. Okay, keep this in mind. You will always have a be verb, that is a helping verb, along with the past participle form of the verb. Okay, so you've learnt V1, V2, V3 verb forms, right? V1 is present. Now suppose we are talking about, say, eat. Eat is the verb. Eat is the verb. What is the V1 form of eat? The V1 form of eat is eat only, present, right? What is the V2 form of eat? That is the past form. V2 form of eat. V2 form of eat is ate. Okay. What is the V3 form of eat? It is eaten. Okay. It is eaten. So this V3 form combined with the B form of the verb. Okay. So this is what you should write always. Okay. The V3 form of the verb, any verb for that matter. Now in bracket you are given the verb, right? Decide is the verb. So the V3 form of decide is, decided, right? So partial answer is given. You already have half the answer. Okay. Yeah. Now moving on, what is the B form of the verb? B form, we discussed this before also. What is the B form of the verb? So B form is basically the state of existing. It's a helping verb only. Okay. So B form will also have V1, V2 and V3. Okay. B form will also have V1, V2 and V3. Now what is the V1 form of the B verb? The V1 form is am, is, are. So when you are talking about something in the present, okay, you use am, is or are. Okay. Why am, is or are? Why three different forms for the V1? It is because of the person, okay, the number and the person. Now if you're, say, using I is first person singular. So whenever it is first person singular, you use am in the present. Okay. If it was past, it will be I was. In the present, it is I am. Okay. Is, when do you use is? So he, she, it, okay, he, she, it. These are all third person, not second person. These are third person when you are talking about another person. Okay, so he is first person singular, she, and it is also first person singular. So when you're talking about, sorry, second person third person singular, my bad. So if it is he, she, it, which is third person singular, you will be always using is. Okay, he is, she is, it is. That is if you're talking about the present. If it is past, again, he was, she was, it was, right? Now, when do you use are? So, when it is second person, you say are, you are, right, in the present, you are. If it is past, it will be you were. So, you are. Or when it is third person plural, you use, okay. Now, most of the time in passive form of the verb, you will not be getting to write the answer in the present. Okay, answer will most of the time be written in the past only. So, you do not use this, okay, most of the time. Most of the time, your answer has to be written in the V2 form itself, was and were. So, most of the time, the B form of the verb, okay, you will combine the V3 form of the verb with either was or were most of the time, okay. Most of the time. So B form of the verb will be written in was or were. So let's write the answers. So the first one, therefore it. So decide is your verb. So what did I tell you earlier? B form of the verb with the V3 form. Okay. So let's write the form here. So you can just write it on the last page of the answer sheets in the exam, so as to not forget. Okay, I mean once the exam starts, of course. So the B form plus the V3. So therefore it. So I should write the V3 form. What is the V3 form of decide? It's decided. Again, it's in the past. So it was decided. Singular. So therefore it was decided is the first answer. The second answer. This, again, past. Inform is my verb. What would be the V3 form? Informed. So again, informed is singular. Therefore it was informed to the prince and he agreed to this. The criminal, again, what is the V3 form? Kept. So criminal was kept. Again, the criminal, so it's singular. The criminal was kept in the prison and they placed a guard over him. So this is how you write the answer, right? Was or were will vary. In most of the situation, it will be in the past only. So if it is in the past, you write either was or were along with the V3 form of the verb. Okay. Moving on. So this question will be for 3 marks. Okay, sure, short, 3 marks. Moving on. Fill in the blanks by choosing the appropriate expressions given in the brackets. Idiomatic expressions. Okay. Roof's dash when he was offered money to vote for Madhuka. So this sentence is positive, right? Among the 3 idiomatic expressions, what would come in? Face lit up. Face lit up means basically becoming happy. Okay. Face lit up. It's a pleasant emotion. So Roof's face lit up is what you write here. Roof's face lit up when he was offered money to vote for Madhuka. So face lit up is basically being happy. Okay. So Roof's face lit up when he was offered money to vote for Madhuka. But on the day of election, he was dashed and decided to vote both Marcus and Madhuka. So on the day, among the 3 options, this is most suitable. In a fix. In a fix is basically dilemma. So what is dilemma? When you have 2 decisions and you do not know what decision to take, when you are confused as to what decision you should take, that is dilemma or in a fix. Okay. So but on the day of election, he was in a fix is correct. In a fix and decided to vote both Marcus and Madhuka. So here is your answer. Okay, the next question is a 5-mark question, that is matching the pronouns to the noun or noun phrases. Again, very easy. We've discussed this before also. How do you identify the said noun to the noun phrase? Most of the time, the pronoun will be given after the noun or noun phrase. Okay, so the noun phrase will be mentioned, noun or noun phrase, and after that, the pronoun will be mentioned in the same sentence or in the next. So most of the time, the noun phrase comes before the pronoun. So that is how you can identify. Mother Teresa was born on 26th August 1910 in Skopje. Okay, so Skopje is mentioned here. Which? So which is Skopje? Okay, is in Macedonia now. Her father, her will refer to Mother Teresa's 6th. Her father was Nicola Bojaxiu. So who is Nicola Bojaxiu? Who was a simple businessman? She was a beautiful and hard-working girl. So she here refers to Mother Teresa again. Who was fond of singing? She went to Ireland. Where? So where is Ireland? 3. Where she began learning English before traveling to Calcutta. So A, 4, B, 6, C, 2, D, 1 and E, 3. Correct? Check again. Yeah, check again. Yeah, moving on. So this is the answer. Moving on. Moving on, the next part is part B. So part B is the part, as we discussed earlier, the part which has the most weightage, the literature part, 30 marks. So the first section, answer any 3 of the following questions in 1 or 2 sentences, words, phrases. First question, what are the 2 things that Romeo intends to do after the measure? So the first 14th question is from the first chapter, Romeo and Juliet. What are the 2 things that Romeo intends to do after? So he wants to watch her place of stand. He wants to watch her place of stand. That is, he wants to look at her from afar. From afar. And what is the other thing? He wants to, what can I say, touch her hand with his rude hand and feel blessed. So he wants to touch her and feel blessed. His rude hand and feel blessed. So he wants to admire or look at her from afar. He wants to admire her place of stand, and he wants to touch her hand against his hand and make himself feel blessed. So these are the 2 things that Romeo intends to do after the measure. What is the measure? The ball, the party. Right. The 15th question. According to the prophet in On Children, what parents may house and what they may not. So parents may house the bodies. May house the bodies, but they may not house the thoughts. I'm just writing the point, you should write the complete answer. May not house their thoughts. Yeah. So the parents may house the bodies of the children, but they may not house their thoughts. Right. 16th question. What is Shipko movement? Women from which region participated in it according to Vandana Shiva? So Chipko movement was a mass movement against deforestation. Against large scale deforestation would be correct. Large scale deforestation. Women from the, resuming the 15th question, so a small mistake. Parents may house the bodies but not the souls, right? So earlier I wrote thoughts, so it's not thought, it's souls. Parents may house the bodies, they may not house the souls of the children. Okay, coming back, 16th question, mass movement again. What is Shipko movement? Women from which region participated in it according to Vandana Shiva? So it was a mass movement against large scale deforestation in the Himalayan region. In the Himalayan region. And women of the Garhwal region of the Himalayas. Women from the Garhwal region of the Himalayas started or headed the Chipko movement. So that is the answer for the 16th question. 17th question. Which is the mighty moment mentioned in the poem Water? So the mighty moment mentioned in the poem Water is the mighty moment mentioned in the poem Water is the Mahat struggle. The Mahat struggle And where did it happen? It happened in the Chadar tank. The mighty movement, the Mahat struggle, it happened in the Chadar tank. So this is your answer. Mahat struggle, Chadar tank. Moving on. Yeah, answer any 4 of the following questions in about 60 words. Yeah, moving on to the third section in part B. Answer any 4 of the following questions in about 60 words. 1 paragraph. Yeah. So you'll have to answer any 4 of the 6 questions given. So for this, I want you all to open your Springs textbook. So we'll mark the answers, okay? And I'll read it out to you. So just mark the answers. 18th, answer any 4 of the following questions in about 60 words. 18th question, how was the Himalayan region affected by logging according to Vandana Shiva? So the 4th chapter, everything I need to know I learned in the forest, page 23. Page 23, the 3rd paragraph is your answer, okay? 3rd paragraph, logging had led to landslides and floods and scarcity of water, fodder and fuel, okay? So since women provide these basic needs, its scarcity meant longer walks for collecting water and firewood and a heavier burden. So this was how the Himalayan region was affected by logging. So page 23, the 3rd paragraph, the entire 3rd paragraph is your answer. The 19th question, how does Don Gonzalo recall the beauty of the Silver Maiden? So all of you open the 5th chapter, Sunny Morning. Sunny Morning, the 5th chapter, page 43. Page 43, the first dialogue that Don Gonzalo says. Page 43, the first dialogue. Okay, Don Gonzalo. So you can mark that. That is the answer. She was ideal. She was fair as a lily. Hair jet black hair and black eyes with an uncommonly sweet expression. She seemed to cast radiance wherever she was. Her figure was beautiful, perfect. Okay. You can write the next set of lines if you want. What forms of sovereign beauty God models in human clay? She was a dream. So the whole set of dialogues should be marked. Okay, page 43, the first dialogue that Don Gonzalo says is your answer. Third, the next 20th question. How does a poet portray that his love is different from that of others in the poem? When you are old. So in the poem, when you are old, when the others loved her for her physical beauty, he loved her for her pilgrim soul. So this should be mentioned, pilgrim soul. Yeah, when the others loved her for her physical beauty, the poet loved her for her pilgrim soul. Okay, and also for her sorrows, which you can add. Yeah, and loved the sorrows of your changing face, meaning he loved her for her personality, for her pilgrim soul. Yeah. Moving on, 21st question. How does the child's food get defeated as described in the poem To the Food from Its Child? So how does the child's food get defeated? So as the child gets exposed to stones and glass and the rough surface of the earth, the child's food gets defeated in its pursuit, and it is restricted to the shoe. So the answer is given as it is in the poem as well. You can mark that. Yeah, page 71. Page 71, the second stanza. But in time, stones and bits of glass, streets, ladders, and the paths in the rough earth go on teaching the fruit that it cannot fly. It cannot be a fruit bulging on the branch. Then the child's foot is defeated, falls in the battle, is a prisoner, condemned to live in a shoe. So what does that mean? So initially the child's foot dreams to be an apple or a butterfly, right? It has big ambitions, big dreams. But as a child's foot walks barefoot without any protection, okay, it's exposed to glass, it is exposed to stones and the rough surface, the rough earth. So all this exposure causes the foot or the feet to realize that the dreams cannot bear fruit, or the dreams cannot be realized. Hence the foot is defeated, and once the foot is defeated, it is condemned or it is forced to be inside a shoe. So this is the answer, right? How is the food defeated? It is exposed to glass and stones and the rough earth, and hence it is defeated. It realizes that it cannot fulfill its dreams of being a butterfly or an apple. That is how the food gets condemned to a shoe. So this is how the food gets defeated. The child's food gets defeated. Yeah. 22nd question. What aspects of nature make this earth heaven according to Kuvempu? Yeah, what aspects of nature make this earth heaven according to Kuvempu? So you can open page 91. Page 91, the third stanza. The third stanza. While this roaring stream rushes fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, the tender sunshine leans on verdant gardens, and then the gentle sun make this earth heaven. So these elements are what make this earth heaven, right? The roaring streams that rush fast, rolling surf at the edge of waves, the tender sunshine that leans on verdant gardens, and then the gentle sun. So all these make the earth heaven. So the whole of the third stanza. Moving on to the next question. Why bowing is difficult for a visitor to learn according to George Mikes? Why bowing is difficult for a visitor to learn according to George Mikes? So you can open page 98. Page 98. Your 11th chapter, Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye, page 98. Okay, page 98. Yeah, from the fourth line, you have the answer in the fourth line. You bow too deeply, or the fourth line. You bow too deeply or not too deeply enough. You bow to the wrong man at the wrong time. You do not clasp your hands in front of you, which is bad, or you do, which is worse. You will discover that the Japanese have a complicated hierarchy in bowing. Who bows to whom, how deeply, and for how long? So this is your answer. Okay. Moving on. The fourth part. Answer any three of the following questions in about 100 words. So that is roughly 1/3 of a page would do. 1/3 or even half a page would do. So what were the arguments put forth by the prisoner for not going out of the prison in 2 years? What were the arguments put forth by the prisoner? Yeah, so initially what happens, the prisoner was arrested for murder, right? And what did the king and his council agree upon? They initially convicted him, and the first punishment they handed out to him was capital punishment, death punishment. But why could they not enforce the capital punishment? Because there was unavailability of a guillotine or equipment to hang. So nobody wanted to hang him, and they did not have a guillotine either. And buying a guillotine was also too expensive an affair. So that is why the capital punishment was further, it was reduced to life imprisonment. And during the entirety of the life imprisonment, the prisoner enjoyed a very comfortable life, right? He enjoyed a very comfortable life. Food was provided. He had protection. He had shelter also. But this became a very expensive affair. And what did the king decide? Let us remove the guard. So if the guard is removed, the prisoner will run away. And did the prisoner run away? No. Okay. He himself went to the palace kitchen, took the food, came back, and he used to stay in the prison. The king calls him to ask why he did not run away. So it was at this situation that the prisoner gives his answer. This was his argument. What was the argument? On one side, he was a convict, right? On one side, he was a convict. Because he was a convict, his reputation was damaged. Reputation was tarnished. So people would turn their backs on him. People would turn their backs on him. They would not accept him into the society. So he will not be accepted into the society. Reputation was tarnished. Okay, and he will not get work anywhere. Yeah. So, yeah. So people would turn their backs on him and he will not get a job anywhere. So there was this employability factor also at hand. So on one side his reputation was tarnished. He will be only accepted into the society as a murderer and people would turn their backs on him. And moreover, most importantly, he was used to the comfortable life he was living in prison. Right? It was a long time since he had worked. So he had gotten away with the working. He did not know how to get back and work again. He was very used to this lazy, comfortable life. So these were the arguments that the prisoner gave. Okay, these were the arguments that the prisoner put forth to the king. Okay, moving on. Laura and Gonzalo recognize each other but conceal their identity. How does the play A Sunny Morning present this? Yeah. So despite recognizing each other, okay, despite Don Gonzalo recognizing Donna Laura, what was the other name of Donna Laura? Silver Maiden, right? And how does Donna Laura address Don Gonzalo, the young Don Gonzalo, as the gallant horseman? So despite them recognizing each other, they do not reveal their identities. Okay, why was that? Because both of them believed that they were old. They were too old for the other person to accept them. So they felt that they were old and not so, presentable, not so good looking. As a result, they tried to hide their identities. So how did they hide their identities? So Don Gonzalo says that the gallant horseman was his cousin, right? Don Gonzalo says that the gallant horseman was his cousin. Donna Laura says that the Silver Maiden was her friend. So this is how they lie to each other. But the other person knows very well that this is their long lost lover. Yet they do not reveal it to each other because they feel that due to their old age, okay, due to their appearance, the present appearance, the other person may not accept them. Okay. So their long lost lover, the person sitting in front of them, that person liked the younger, more attractive self. Okay. So that image that the other person had, they do not want to destroy it, which is why they lied to the other person. So what does Donna Laura say? Donna Laura says that the Silver Maiden was her friend, and Don Gonzalo says that the gallant horseman, that is the Silver Maiden's lover, was his cousin. Okay, and they spin stories also. What are the stories that they spin? So Don Gonzalo says that he dies in the gallant horseman. Okay, he dies in war. He runs away and he dies brave death. Okay, he shouts the name of his lover and he dies in war, holding the flag of Spain. And what does Donna Laura say? She also lies to Don Gonzalo. She says that the Silver Maiden used to write her lover's name on the beach and the sea washed her away. So they lie to each other. The 26th question. Describe the competition between Tammanna and Basavaya after Tammanna began to compose and sing ballads. So what was the main crux or the main core of the Gardner? The main core of Gardner is a competition between Tammanna and Basavaya. And who were Tammanna and Basavaya? Respected landlords in their village. They were competing to acquire. More material wealth, more land, more friends. Okay. At a certain point, Tammanna had 1,000 acres. Basavaya had 800 acres. Okay. Then Basavaya forcefully, captures or annexes, you can say, the land of Tammanna. What does Tammanna do? He starts writing ballads or composing ballads. What are ballads? Folk songs, village folk songs that have a very, a light-hearted story. So he starts composing such village folk songs, ballads. And in these ballads, Basavaya is portrayed as a villain. So these ballads become an instant hit and Basavaya's reputation is damaged. Right? Basavaya's reputation is damaged. Okay. Now Basavaya is somebody who is not as talented as Tamanna. Tamanna is a very talented poet. He composes very beautiful ballads. They become an instant sensation. They are not just read out or they are not just sung in their village. Even in the neighboring villages, these ballads become an instant sensation. So that is how good Tamanna is as a poet. Basavaya tries to replicate, but he knows that he is not as talented as Tamanna. What does he do? He calls scholars, poets, etc. to his house. He tries to amass more material wealth. So Basavaya tries to amass more material wealth. He knows very well that he cannot compose ballads like Tamanna. So he tries to amass more material wealth. He builds a big house. Okay, he builds a big house and he adorns, or he fills his house with a lot of expensive stuff. He buys a lot of expensive things. He bedecks his house with expensive things. He invites scholars and poets. Okay, so many guests come. That is how he tries to satisfy himself. He satiates himself. But every single person who comes to his house, what do they say? You have everything in the world. Okay, you have all the material wealth in the world. But the only thing that is missing in your house is Tamanna's ballads. So again, Basavaya takes a hit, because every single person who comes to his house, they admire all the wealth he has, the material wealth. But what do they tell him? You do not have Tamanna's ballads. Okay. So this again hits Basavaya hard. So this is how the rivalry transcends. It transcends beyond physical means, beyond the physical realm. Why beyond the physical realm? Because initially they were competing on material wealth. What is material wealth? Things that you can see, feel and touch. So they were competing on who had more money, who had more land, who had more friends. All these are materialistic wealth. But the moment Tamanna started composing ballads, Basavaya's reputation started getting destroyed. Now reputation is not something that you can see or feel. That is beyond material. So they started competing beyond physical realm. So the moment Tamanna started composing ballads, Basavaya's reputation started going down. So now competition is beyond physical realm, and Basavaya does not know how to compete. So that is your answer. These are the key points that you should write in your answer. Okay, the rivalry went beyond physical realm. How did it go beyond physical realm? Because Basavaya's reputation was damaged. And what did he do? He tried to compensate it by amassing more wealth and inviting poets, scholars, etc. But everybody who came to his house, what did they say? He was missing Tamanna's ballads. Yeah, the 27th question. The function of books is irreplaceable. Explain this statement with reference to, I believe that books will never disappear. So the answer to that is in page 84 of your Springs textbook. Page 84. Page 84. The fourth dialogue. The fourth dialogue, that is what Borges says. I believe that books will never disappear. It is impossible that will happen. Among the many inventions of man, the book without a doubt is the most astounding. All the others are extension of our bodies. The telephone, for example, is the extension of our voice. The telescope and the microscope are extensions of our sight. The sword and the plow are extensions of our arms. Only the book is an extension of our imagination and memory. So that is your answer. So what does Borges basically try to say? Every other invention of man is basically an extension of your body. Okay, the telephone being an extension of your voice, the telescope and the microscope being an extension of your sight. So the book being the only invention which is an extension of your memory, which is why Borges goes on to say that books will never disappear. Okay, moving on to the next question. Why did the people of Umuofia feel that they had underrated the power of ballot paper before in the voter? So in the lesson The Voter, the people of Umuofia had voted a certain candidate to power. Who was that? Marcus Ebe. Now Marcus Ebe had a very humble background. Who was Marcus Ebe in the beginning? Marcus Ebe was a teacher. Okay. He was a not so successful mission school teacher. But what eventually happens? He becomes a wealthy person. Soon after he becomes one of their winning candidates, and he later on becomes a minister, he amasses a lot of wealth. Okay, he amasses a lot of wealth. Now, basic facilities were also not provided to the people of Umuofia, drinking water, electricity. Okay, but all this were readily available in his mansion, the Umuofia mansion. Okay, so the people of Umuofia voted Marcus eBay to power without expecting anything. Okay, so that is when they realized that they can negotiate or they can bargain for what they want. Okay, so in the last time when they voted Marcus eBay to power, they did not ask for anything much. So this is when they realize the power of the ballot paper. So what do? They ask for more. How much do they negotiate for? They negotiate for, I think, around 5 shillings this time. So they realize that there is more power to the ballot paper than they think. So they notice Marcus eBay amassing a lot of wealth. Okay, initially he started out as a very humble mission school teacher, but he became a very rich and wealthy man. Despite becoming a minister, the people of Umuofia were not benefited in a very large manner. Okay, even basic facilities like electricity or water were not provided. Yet Marcus eBay was made sure that all this was supplied to his house, his mansion. Okay, so last time the only thing that Marcus eBay did was he threw a feast. He threw a feast, and a very sumptuous food was provided to all the voters. So all the voters, they had this food and they got happy. They voted him to power. But later they realized that they can bargain for something more. So that is what they do in the next election. Okay, 29th question. Write a note on Arivoli Iyakam. So Arivoli Iyakam. So what does Arivoli Iyakam do? Arivoli Iyakam hands out free cycles to the women, the rural women of Pudukkottai. And through this cycling, women are made self-reliant. Okay, and their self-respect, or this increases self-respect. Their mobility is also increased. And moreover, women are less reliant or less dependent on men. Okay, so these are some of the contributions of Arivoli Iyakam. Moving on. Yeah, this is the reading comprehension part, which I will be skipping because the 9 questions that will be coming are more or less direct questions only. Employ skimming and scanning techniques. Direct questions you will be getting from the unseen passage itself. Yeah, the grammar part D. So 31A, rewrite as directed. So you have to, the first question, you have to fill in with an appropriate article. Copernicus said that dash earth revolves around the sun. Article. So the earth revolves around the sun. There's only one earth. Okay. There's only one earth, one sun, which is why the definite article, the. Copernicus said that the earth revolves around the sun. Next is a word order question. So law and order should be enforced to maintain peace in society. So that is your order. Law and order should be enforced to maintain peace in society. That is the order. Is it correct? Let's check again. Law and order should be enforced to maintain peace in society. Yeah. Okay, the third one, subject verb agreement. Each man and each woman dash given an opportunity to speak. Each man and each woman dash given an opportunity to speak. It is was given. Now many of you will be confused because we have 2 subjects and it's a compound subject because and is used, right? Each man and each woman, compound subject. But keep in mind that when each or every is used, okay, when each or every is used, it is always followed by a singular verb. So each and each man and each woman was, okay, it's not were. Even if there is a compound and used, you will not, I mean each man and each woman will be considered singular. Okay, moving on. One of my close relatives dash in Sydney now. Use appropriate form of verb given in the brackets. One of my close relatives dash in Sydney now. Keep in mind the exact time frame is given. Okay, so if the exact time frame is given, you do not use simple present, you use present continuous. Keep this in mind. One of my close relatives is living. Now many of you may write lives, okay, which is wrong, because in this case the exact time frame is given, now or at present. Suppose instead of now it would be at present. So since the exact time frame is given, you use present continuous. Okay, one of my close relatives is living in Sydney now is correct. Moving on. Yeah, the linkers. So 4 linkers will be given in the bracket. You can use one linker only once. Okay, moving on. One fine day, a wealthy man drove out of his city. He saw a farmer's house on his way, and he was attracted to it. Is correct. And he was farmer's horse on his way, and he was attracted to it. He wanted to buy it as it was looking great. But the farmer was not willing to sell his horse. However, the rich man pleaded with him and was ready to pay more. At last, the farmer was convinced and he agreed to sell his horse. Is correct. So please check again if it's correct. Yeah. Moving on, question tags. Raghu has gone to attend the workshop. Add a question tag. So this question, I've seen some of you rewrite it into a question. No, you're only supposed to write the question tag. Okay, Raghu has gone to attend the workshop. So here has is a helping verb. So you use the same here. Has, hasn't, he is correct. Okay, Raghu has gone to attend the workshop. Hasn't he is correct. Charles Darwin developed a theory of evolution. So the underlined word is Charles Darwin. You need to get that as the answer. You have to frame a question with the rest of the sentence. Who developed the theory of evolution? Who developed the theory of evolution is correct. Okay, next is the OR question, that is error correction. Many children is there in the playground is wrong. It's a subject verb agreement error. Many children are there because it's plural. Many children are there in the playground. Second, when you are leaving to France is a word order error. So when are you leaving? This should be interchanged. When are you is correct. Keep in mind that for the error correction questions, do not simply write the error and write the correction. You should rewrite the entire sentence because that is exactly what the question is also asking you. Okay, rewrite the sentence, rewrite the correct sentence. So many children are there in the playground, and when are you leaving to France? Both these sentences should be written as it is. Okay, moving on. Farmers. Yeah. Next is the note filling. Yeah, the note making. Farmers are the backbone of a country as they provide food and other raw materials to the people. They make significant contribution to a country's economic progress. However, farmers face many challenges, including unpredictable weather patterns, crop failure, and debt. So the backbone of a country is farmers. This is more or less like your reading comprehension, only you get direct answers. You can either write you can either draw the diagram as it is, the note making diagram, or you can just write a 1, 2, 3 in that series with the answers. Okay. The first one, farmers are the background of the country. What do they provide people with? They provide food and other raw materials. So raw materials written, food. So what are the other significant contributions they make? Or country's economic progress is the correct answer. Okay, what are the challenges they face? Unpredictable weather is written. Crop failure. So I hope the answers are correct. Check again. Yeah, moving on. Okay, reported speech. So something very important which I thought I have to discuss with you people. So you can write each of the dialogues separately, okay, when reporting, or you can write it as one complete paragraph, okay. So what I saw when I have evaluated some of your papers is you have summarized, okay, you read the dialogues and you summarize it, okay. This is what some of you have done when writing the answer to reported speech. This is wrong, okay. Summarizing is not what you're supposed to do, okay. So you are just basically following the grammar rules and reporting the sentence that is given to you. You are not supposed to be summarizing. You don't read the dialogues and you summarize and you write your own understanding. You don't paraphrase and write your own things. You are supposed to report this conversation, okay, grammatically. Okay, keep the rules in mind and report the conversation. So here you have the conversation between Alifano and Borges. So here Alifano is asking a question to Borges. So what do you write first? Alifano asks Borges what was blindness to him. Sorry, what blindness was to him. When you're reporting, you change the word order. So Alifano asks Borges what blindness was to him. Why is it was? Because so this becomes a sentence. Alifano asks Borges what blindness was to him. Simple present becomes simple past. Remember the change of the person as well as the change of the tense. Simple present becomes simple past. To which Borges replies that it, again, is becomes was. It was a way of life. I am not completely unhappy. And that he was not. So I becomes he. And am becomes was. He was not completely unhappy. Again, Alifano is asking question, have you thought of writing a book on the history of the book? It's a yes or no question. So if it's a yes or no question, how do you report it? Use if or whether. So Alifano asks Borges if he is Borges, if he had, why had? Because have becomes had ever, not ever, sorry. If he had thought of writing
you can switch off the AC.
Switch off. It's all.
It's off, I guess.
It's fine. I'll.
Like I entered and affected.
I know. I will finish in another 10 minutes time. So I can leave. Yeah.
No, it's all. I was asking for you only.
No, I know. I agree. But I'll finish in 10 minutes time. So it's not needed. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So if he had thought of writing a book on the history of the book. To which Borges replied that it was, okay, it was an excellent idea. Okay, so this is the answer you're basically supposed to write. You can either write it separately or you can write it as one complete paragraph. Keep in mind that you're not summarizing the this one. You're basically reporting the answer as it is. Okay, moving on. Complete the following conversation. So language functions. You've learned this in first year, first PU as well. So here's a conversation between Abhijit and the receptionist of at a hospital. Okay, Abhijit, can you book an appointment with the dentist? Agreeing. So agreeing. So it's basically sure. Yeah. Abhijit. So giving information. Yeah, expressing gratitude, thank you. Yeah, here you can basically write your own dialogue. Yeah, so can you book it for tomorrow? Receptionist, okay, I will book it. Abhijit, expressing gratitude, basically thank you. So you can write your own set of dialogues. Just follow the hints that are given in the brackets. Moving on. Part E, write a letter of application in response to the following advertisement that appeared in Hindustan Times dated 5th March. So you have a letter of application, so you're supposed to write the formal letter along with the resume. Okay, so use these hints, the information that is given in the box, in the wanted box. Use the information accordingly, write the formal letter and attach the resume also. So both are necessary. You can either write that, and also keep in mind this information that is given. Okay, use XXX 4X for your name and 4Y for your address. Okay, do not write your own name and address. Follow this, okay, strictly. There is an OR question also, that is speech. Yeah, imagine you are the president of your college union. You are asked to introduce the chief guest Girish and on the occasion of World Disability Day. Based on the information given below, write a speech. So you are the president of your college union. So the speech, again, there should be a formal introduction. You are introducing the guests, okay, and yourself. Then the second paragraph is where you are introducing the guest. Then there should be a formal conclusion also. So basically 3 paragraphs, that is how you write your speech, okay. Yeah, with that we conclude the discussion of the first set of your model question paper. The second set will be discussed shortly, so stay tuned. And you can access the PDF of the first, the model paper 1 in the WhatsApp group, okay. So thank you, all the best for your board exams.